Deep in the wilderness of Chatham County, North Carolina, there lies a place with a name whispered in dread, the Devil's Tramping Ground. It is a barren circle of earth, about 40 feet across, where nothing has ever managed to grow. No grass, no wildflowers, not even weeds. The ground is cracked, scorched, and lifeless, even though the forest surrounding it thrives in lush green. Locals believe that this circle is where the devil himself walks the earth. Every night, after midnight, a dark figure is said to rise and pace endlessly within the circle, plotting ways to spread evil across the world. No one dares to linger there after nightfall. Those who try to camp within the circle often report strange happenings, tents collapsing without cause, belongings scattered, and footsteps pacing around them through the night. Some who enter the circle never return at all. 3 college students from Chapel Hill, Daniel, Laura, and Chris, decided to test the legend for themselves. They were thrill seekers, amateur documentarians who explored haunted places for their small online channel. For them, the Devil's Tramping Ground wasn't just folklore, it was the perfect story. If we prove this place is really haunted, our channel will explode, Chris said excitedly as he packed the night vision cameras. Laura, the skeptic, raised an eyebrow. Or we'll just film an empty patch of dirt and get called frauds. Daniel, the de facto leader, smirked. Then we'll be famous frauds. But if the legend is true? He paused, staring at his phone screen filled with articles about the site. Then we'll witness something beyond explanation. They arrived just before dusk. The dusty road wound deeper into the forest until the trees finally gave way to the infamous clearing. The sight silenced them. The circle was real. Barren, gray-brown earth, cracked as if baked under a desert sun, though it sat in the middle of a humid forest. No blade of grass dared cross the invisible border. "This isn't natural," Laura whispered. Daniel pulled out his camera. "Tonight we'll see if the devil really does walk here."
They set up camp directly in the circle, lit a small fire, and aimed their cameras at the perimeter. At first, everything seemed ordinary. Crickets sang, the wind rustled leaves, and the sky shimmered with stars. But as the night deepened, the atmosphere shifted. The fire flickered violently as though gusts of wind struck it, though the air was perfectly still. Their cameras glitched with static. At 12:15 a.m., Chris bolted upright. He heard footsteps, heavy, deliberate, circling them. "Daniel, Laura, do you hear that?" he whispered urgently. They sat up. Daniel grabbed his camera, aiming it toward the dark tree line. Nothing appeared on the lens, only suffocating blackness. But the sound persisted. 1 loop, 2 loops, 3 loops. Someone or something was pacing around them in perfect circles. "It's just wildlife," Laura muttered, though her voice trembled. Chris shook his head. "Wild animals don't march in circles like this."
The night grew stranger. Their belongings began to move on their own. Daniel's camera toppled from its tripod, cracking the lens. Their food bag shifted several feet from where it had been placed. Then, their tent jerked upward as though gripped by invisible hands. Laura screamed. Daniel hissed, "Stay inside the circle. Whatever happens, don't leave it." The fire died instantly, plunging them into darkness. And from that darkness came a sound, a guttural exhale, deep and resonant, almost like a growl. Chris snapped on his flashlight. For a split second, they saw it, a towering silhouette at the edge of the circle. Its body was pitch black, its eyes glowing red. Its face was featureless, a living shadow. Then the flashlight went out. The figure was gone, but terror had sunk its claws into their hearts. They endured until dawn, though none truly slept. When sunlight returned, the clearing looked unchanged, silent, barren, unthreatening. But then they saw the evidence. Massive footprints seared into the earth encircled the barren ground. The impressions were long, heavy, and burned deep as though scorched into existence. "That's not human," Daniel whispered hoarsely. Laura shook her head. "It could be a prank. Someone's trying to scare us." Chris pointed at the charred marks. "What kind of prankster leaves burned footprints in solid ground?" They filmed everything, desperately clinging to rational explanations. But inside, they all knew they had witnessed something not of this world. Despite their fear, curiosity won over reason. They stayed another night. This time, the atmosphere was hostile from the moment the sun dipped. The air grew unnaturally cold. A faint sulfur stench lingered, and from the forest came sounds that no animal could make. Screams, laughter, and weeping all tangled together. Around 1 a.m., Laura felt a whisper at her ear. Words too low to understand, but cold enough to freeze her spine. She screamed, awakening the others. Chris swung his camera toward her, recording. In the footage, a black shadow appeared right behind Laura, walking past her. Yet when they turned, nothing was there. Daniel swallowed hard. "I read something online. They say the devil doesn't just walk here, he follows those who dare to camp inside." Laura's face went pale. "You're joking." But Daniel didn't reply. As the night dragged on, everything collapsed. Their flashlights failed, their cameras fried, the fire refused to light. And then, laughter erupted. Long, booming, echoing, coming from everywhere at once. The silhouette returned, clearer this time. A gaunt figure, impossibly tall, horns curling from its head, eyes glowing like embers. Laura broke first. She bolted out of the circle, shrieking. "Laura, no!" Daniel shouted, but she was already gone. They caught one last glimpse, something leaping from the trees, a shape of pure blackness, engulfing her in an instant. Her scream cut off. Chris collapsed, trembling violently. "We have to go, now!" Leaving their gear behind, the two of them ran through the forest, chased by echoes of laughter. Only Daniel and Chris made it out of the forest. Survival, however, didn't mean freedom. In the nights that followed, both began experiencing disturbances. Candles blew out on their own. Knocking came at their windows at midnight. Chris confessed that he saw a horned silhouette standing in his bedroom. Days later, he vanished without a trace. Daniel, desperate, began documenting everything in a journal. He became convinced the barren circle was no mere patch of dirt. It was a portal, a place where the devil steps onto the earth, and anyone who camps within it becomes marked. Today, the devil's tramping ground remains. The circle is still barren, defying all attempts at explanation. Locals have tried planting trees, scattering seeds, even leaving objects inside the circle. By morning, everything is destroyed or gone. Skeptics call it poisoned soil or an elaborate myth meant to spook children. But those who have spent a night there know the truth. Something walks in that circle every night. Something older than legend, darker than night, more patient than time itself. The devil paces that ground, and he does not like to be disturbed.